Hey all, welcome Star Wars fans. Welcome back to Star Wars Legends and Canon. My name is Jeremy, and today I'm going to be talking about what is the difference between Star Wars Legends and Star Wars Canon. What is Legends for those who may not really know, or for fans that have watched the films and want to get into the expanded universe of novels. Where do I start? What's a good place to start in both? I'm going to be giving you a couple of recommendations based on what I have found. I have never read any of these, so maybe this is not like the best video to go to, but these are what I think is a good idea, and what I have. These are also books that I've been highly recommended to read. So it's not. So this is not like me recommending books to read. It's just kind of me explaining what's Legends and what is canon for the most part. So, basically, what is Legends? Legends is known as the expanded universe of Star Wars books and comics as well, and video games and whatever that was published prior to, I believe it is prior to April of 2014. Everything that was published after that is canon. So basically, everything that was published before that has now been rebranded under the Legends banner. So it will look like this at the top. It'll say Legends on it, and basically all these books that say that are not canon. Everything that's been written thousands upon thousands Star Wars books are no longer canon. They basically Disney, when they bought the rights from George Lucas, they wanted basically a giant slate wipe of the canon line, pretty much. And a lot of people were very angry about that when it happened. I wasn't reading the books at that point, but I did hear about it, and I did think that was pretty shitty, especially for fans who had been reading them for decades and loved a lot of those novels, especially the X-wing series and the Thrawn trilogy, the Darth Bane trilogy. A lot of those books, a lot of people were pretty outraged that they are no longer considered canon. But I will say is what I hear a lot, and what I see a lot on the Star Wars of YouTube, is basically a lot of people don't want to read Legends because it's not canon. I very rarely have seen anyone talk about the Legend books or anything, and that's kind of sad because just because Disney did what they did doesn't mean the Legends novels should not be worth reading. They're still Star Wars books. We still get to explore other worlds and other stories that are really awesome. One of the books that I was recommended for Star Wars books, but probably in 2013, it was before Disney officially took over everything, was the Thrawn trilogy, which starts with Heir to the Empire. And I have every intention of reading this one. This will be my very first Legends novel I will read. I'm planning on reading all three of these, and I read about the first like 80 to 100 pages of this back in 2013, and from what I read of it, I really liked it because this is set about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So I don't really know too much, so I'm not gonna say anything, but. And then I have a couple of expanded more ones. I have John Jackson Miller's Kenobi, which, considering we'll probably never see a Kenobi film, this is probably the best we're ever going to get. And these are also highly recommended ones. Then this is also another one that's pretty old. This was a 90s novel, which is Shadows of the Empire by Steve Perry. And then, of course, there's Path of Destruction by Drew, funny last name that I can pronounce, which is Path of Destruction, which is the first book of the Darth Bane trilogy. Something you'll also know about me is I really hate mass paperback, but almost everything from the expanded universe is in mass paperback. So I'm gonna have to just get over it because there's nothing I can do, and I'm not about to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to try to track down hardbacks for these books. It's just not worth it. And I do actually have a couple. I also want to tell you what I'm reading right now. This one is a bit long. It's actually the longest canon novel that's been released so far. And that book is Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. I'm only 10 pages in. I literally just started it like not even 10 minutes ago. And from what I've read so far, I really, really like it. Like, I'm not even a full chapter in to really tell you what I think, but I do like the writing and I do like how this transitions to both of these characters. This basically is about Thrain and Senna, which are two characters that are, they are driven to be pilots, and they both join the Imperial Academy. And I already know that one of them switches over to the Rebel Alliance, and this book is also set before the classic trilogy, during the classic trilogy, and then it goes all the way through until the Battle of Jakku. So I'm very excited to see how this unravels. Almost every Star Wars, Alex over at Star Wars Explained says this is his favorite canon novel. Brian from the Canon Library has also said that this is his favorite canon novel release. This was just a lot of people's favorite. They also just loved these new characters kind of intertwined and the whole behind the scenes, because this very much is about characters that are on the Empire side, or at least one of them continuously is, and one kind of changes throughout the story. So I don't want to say too much, but I'm very excited to see where this goes. And after the 10 pages I read, I'm really interested. I also have the novelization of Rogue One by Alexander Freed. I love this art cover. It looks like the movie, but it also has like more of a artistic to it. And I like the back of this too. Rebellions are built on hope. I love that too. And then I was also recommended Aftermath by Chuck Winging, and this is canon. The novelization of Rogue One is canon. Lost Stars is canon. If I didn't mention that. This trilogy, I don't own the other two. They are in the mail currently, and this is set directly after, literally directly from. It's literally set directly after Return of the Jedi, right when the camera moves off of our characters. So we get to see the aftermath of Palpatine and Vader falling. We get to see what happened to the Galactic Empire, and just how the galaxy realizes that the Empire has finally starting to crumble. So this should be very fun. And then I also have one more that I just got a few days ago, is Catalyst, a Rogue One novel. The first time I watched Rogue One, I thought the first half of the film was incredibly boring, and I literally was falling asleep trying to watch it, and then I watched it a second time and trying to, because I've always thought that the second half was phenomenal. Just the first half was really rough. And I think I kind of understand why the first half had to be a little slow to get where it's going. And I'm also excited to read the novelization to Rogue One, because maybe it'll explain the things that are, because the beginning of the film is very action, everything is going on, and there's so much going on. I'm hoping that the novelization will slow it down, because the novelization is a little over 300 pages. This is a prequel this is Catalyst, a Rogue One novel by James Luceno, and this is basically the opening crawl to Rogue One, because unlike other Star Wars films, we have the words on the page going down, or in space. Rogue One, and as far as I know, I've not seen Solo, but I'm guessing the whole Star Wars story type film isn't gonna do that either, so it should be interesting. But sorry, this came out of me more of a recommending video type than what I initially wanted this video to be. But basically, my best thing to say is I will be reviewing every single Star Wars book I read in their own video. I recently ordered the Star Wars X-Wing series, which is a 10-book series, which is under the Legends banner. And no matter what, even though that's a long series, I will be reviewing every single book in their own video, because the there's so much of Legends, and I don't buy Star Wars books that I don't have interest in reading. There's a couple, even one there's a few like young adult and canons. There's a few young adult Star Wars canon novels that I'm not very interested in reading, but I have every single canon novel that's been released that I have interest in reading. One of them that is actually under a young adult one, which is called Ahsoka, which is about Ahsoka Tano after Revenge of the Sith and how she becomes Fulcrum in Rebels. Very excited to read her book. So, um, and in other news for like upcoming canon books, we have two that I personally know of. We have Shadow Queen, which is by E.K. Johnson, which comes out, I believe, in March of 2019. I'm very excited for that. And then we have that's a young adult, that one, and that one focuses on Padme Amidala. Padme is one of my favorite characters from the prequel trilogy. I'm really looking forward to seeing her have her own novel and how she judges her hometown of Naboo. Basically, how maybe her relationship with Anakin intertwines, and also being a political figure, political figure, and how that kind of intertwines with her as a character. So that seems really interesting. And then the next one, which the cover has not been released yet, and I'm really, really excited to see what it's going to look like when it finally does. But that is going to be followed for Claudia Gray's second Star Wars adult book. She has two young adult ones, Lost Stars and Princess Leia of Alderaan, and that comes out in, I believe it's April, sometime in April of 2019, and that one's called Master and Apprentice. And that one follows Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I am through the roof excited. That novel takes place before The Phantom Menace, when, like, I think years before, actually. I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping it's set at least 10 years prior. Or yeah, I'm hoping it's set at least 10 years prior to The Phantom Menace. Literally, I haven't pre-ordered that book yet because I'm really picky when it comes to books coming in the mail and them not being in like perfect condition. So as soon as that book comes out, I'm definitely going to the nearest Barnes & Noble and dropping like $25, $30 on that book because I am so excited. I've always wanted a story about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon. I love the story called Master and Apprentice that we got from a certain point of view. That was awesome, and I always wanted more. Maybe that was like a hint for us that was going to be her next book. So this will be her fourth overall Star Wars novel. I have never read any of her Star Wars books, but that one I'm most excited for. So really sorry this video was a bit, it was like a little bites of everything, but if there's any questions that you have, and if there's any Star Wars novels that you definitely want me to read, and then I will post a review for, I can really read about a book a week. So I'm starting with Lost Stars, so I'm gonna try to have the review posted next Monday. It is a long book; it's over 550 pages, so we'll see what happens. I'm a rather, slowish reader. We'll see. I'm going to try to find the time to read about 2 hours every day, and hopefully I can, I'm going to be reading at work while I'm at work as well. So, yeah, so I'll see you guys next Sunday with my next video, and until then, have a great week, and thanks for watching. Bye.